there is a kind of financial pain that nobody talks about. Not debt, not failure, not regret exactly. Something quieter. The feeling that sits with you when you think about the years you spent not knowing what you know now. The loss that has no name. When someone loses money to a bad investment, people call it a lesson. When someone wastes years in the wrong job, people call it experience. When someone spends a decade living paycheck to paycheck before finally understanding why, people call it a journey. But nobody calls it what it actually is. A loss. Real. Measurable. Gone. The years compound against you just as surely as they compound for you. And that loss deserves to be felt, not immediately reframed. What financial grief actually looks like. It doesn't look like crying over a bank statement. It looks like doing the math on what that money would have been worth if you had started 10 years earlier. It looks like watching someone younger arrive at the place you're still trying to reach. It looks like a quiet calculation you do in your head sometimes that you never say out loud. If I had just known then what I know now. That thought, the one that visits and then leaves, that's grief. Why nobody lets you feel it. The financial world has no space for mourning. Every story ends with a lesson. Every setback becomes a stepping stone. Every mistake becomes wisdom. The reframe arrives before the feeling does. And so people never actually process what they lost. They just carry it forward, disguised as motivation, disguised as urgency, disguised as hustle. But unprocessed grief has a weight to it. It shows up as anger at financial advice, as shame around money conversations, as a quiet certainty that it's too late, even when it isn't. The thing about time is the only financial resource that cannot be recovered. Every other mistake can be corrected. Debt can be repaid. Habits can change. Income can grow. But the years spent not building, those don't come back. And somewhere inside, most people know this, which is why the feeling isn't just about money. It's about what the money represented. Freedom that arrived late. Options that expired quietly. A version of life that became unavailable before it was ever chosen. Grief isn't the opposite of progress. Sometimes it's the beginning of it. Because the people who skip straight to lessons often repeat the same patterns, just with more confidence. But the ones who sit with the loss, who actually acknowledge what the years cost, they tend to move differently after. Not faster, just more honestly. The money you lost can't be recovered, but the clarity that comes from actually grieving it, that has a value of its own.